Hello and welcome to a home video from the Ginger Travelling Review. Now, today's video is about an event that happened on the day this video is released, which is the 15th of April 2022, which is 110 years since arguably the most famous shipping disaster of the 20th century. The RMS Titanic. Now, I'm sure most people who watch this video have seen the film. This is going to be purely based on the actual event, not the film, because as much as it's romantic to see Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, you come to this channel to watch factual videos. And I know shipping's not been something we've actually covered on the channel at all, but that's changing. We're going to do a bit more shipping disasters. We're going to do military and civilian. So the next one will be a military shipping disaster. I've got a few ideas which ones it's going to be, but you'll have to wait and see to see that one. Anywho, so the RMS Titanic. It was built by a cruise line company that no longer exists, White Star Line, to compete with one that still exists to this day, Cunard. Another one with the three queens. Now, at the time, White Star Line wanted to take some of the glory of being the fastest ship across the Atlantic from Britain to America. And to do that, the chairman of the White Star Line, a man by the name of Mr. Joseph Ismay, decided, right, we're going to build 3 ships: Britannic, Olympic, Titanic. And these 3 ships are going to be the fastest ships to cross the Atlantic. Where does he go to build these ships? He goes to the Harland and Wolff shipyards in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Now, these shipyards are actually still in Belfast. In fact, the Titanic Museum is actually next to the Harland and Wolff shipbuilding shipyards in Belfast. And they build these ships. Titanic's launch date was the previous year in 1911. Its maiden voyage was scheduled for the 10th of April 1912, with stops in France, Cherbourg, Ireland, and then finally New York City. And with Titanic being arguably the best ship that White Star Line ever built, you're going to put the captain in charge that you trust the most. The captain in charge of this ship was a man by the name of Mr. Edward Smith, or Captain Edward Smith. Titanic was going to be his last voyage as a captain. Quite nice, that really, isn't it? How it's the first voyage of your greatest ever ship and the last voyage of your best captain. And Titanic was the best everywhere. First class, second class, third class. You know, the millionaires were on this, as well as normal people. Because they all wanted to go and see America. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, I love getting on a plane to go to America now, so you can't imagine how it would have felt to be on the first voyage of a brand new ship. And Titanic gets released from its moorings at Southampton on the 10th of April 1912. And of course the paper's like, this ship's amazing, this ship's wonderful, look at the scale of it. When it was built, Titanic was built with watertight compartments. So if water got in, you could shut this watertight compartment off and you're fine. But they weren't capped at the top. So if water filled, it could just go over. Design flaw. And these watertight compartments were designed so if Titanic got hit by anything and water got in, it could carry on. What was the name it was given? Oh yeah, the unsinkable ship. But no one ever thought that would ever be needed to be tested. So Titanic steams towards New York. Mr. Ismay wants the press to constantly talk about his ship. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're the chairman of the company, you're on board the ship, you want the media to talk about you, right? And he asks the captain, Mr. Captain Smith, to max it, basically. Put the ship at its fastest speed and get us to New York the fastest. Captain Smith looks at it and goes, okay, well, let's do it. So they up it to its maximum speed. Now, these ships weren't powered by engines, or they were, but it wasn't controlled by a computer like they are these days. No, these were controlled by people shoveling coal into a furnace, and steam comes out the top of the funnels, and the power goes to where the three propellers are and the rudder. Now, when it's left one of its ports of call, I've seen a picture of it as well, there's actually a black spot just above the waterline. Now, there's speculation whether there was actually a fire on board in one of these furnaces at the time that was out of control, that may have weakened some of the metal surrounding it. I've watched a few TV shows on National Geographic and things like that which state there was a fire, but it was under control during the voyage. So Titanic is going towards New York, and 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, everything was fine, no problems. Day the 14th passes without incident, everyone's just going about their business as they were any other day. The night of the 14th of April was Titanic's reckoning. It was its last full day at sea. Titanic would not see the sunrise on the 15th. As it's heading towards New York on the evening of the 14th, they're getting ice warnings, like either slow down or stop. There's a few ships around wirelessing in, because it's not a case of sending a WhatsApp message or a Facebook Messenger or anything like that. You've got to do an all wireless. But they keep getting messages, ice warnings all over the place. But Titanic is unabated. Titanic's going to keep going. So Titanic goes into the night of the 14th of April. Everything's absolutely fine. Now, this night in particular, the Atlantic was calm. There was no moon. So you're not getting any light onto the sea in front of you. You can't see very far. Now, the lookouts, and I have to consult my notes, were Mr. Frederick Fleet and Mr. Reginald Lee. Now, the lookouts were in a bit further forward from the bridge in what they call the crow's nest. And their job is to basically look into the sea and be like, can we see anything that can get in Titanic's way? Now, on a moonless, calm Atlantic Ocean, you're probably not going to see very much. Now, the idea of binoculars comes into it. Well, I've actually watched a TV show on this, and they've said the binoculars were left in a cupboard in Southampton, so they were not going to be able to be found, and the speed Titanic was going in the way, and the coldness and everything like that they wouldn't have been very much help. The idea of a lookout is you ring the bell You phone the bridge up and you tell them what you see. So these two lookouts are looking into the Atlantic Ocean, hoping to see nothing, like they had for the previous few nights anyway. Then, out of the inky blackness of night, comes a shape, the unmistakable shape of an iceberg. They ring that bell, they phone the bridge. We've all seen the film. Whether these lines were actually said, probably were. Lines were iceberg right ahead. As in, we're going to hit it if we don't do something. Now, Titanic is quite big. You know, in a car, you turn the wheel, it does what you want, right? Well, Titanic, obviously not scale. The wheel's here, the rudder's here. Obviously on a massive scale. Whatever input you put in, left or right, port or starboard, it's going to take time for the rudder to get that information and go, right, I need to steer here. But even when it does, Titanic is huge and it's just going to look like it's just turning really slowly. So you could yank on it and it's still just going to move as slow as it would normally. So, the command is put in, turn to port, as in turn left. Starboard is right, port is left. Bow, stern, front, back. They turn to port. Titanic starts to turn. Unfortunately, Titanic's size, and maybe the lateness of the call, who knows, doesn't help the situation. Titanic glances this iceberg on its starboard side. Titanic has been hit. Now, at this point, the major question is, can the ship still move? Can it still go? The captain is told of the iceberg hit. Of course he is. Mr. Ismay is told of the iceberg hit. Why wouldn't he be? He's the chief executive of the company, chairman of the company, sorry. And they find out that the water has breached one more watertight compartment that then Titanic can handle. I think it could handle 3, and it hit 4. Now, whether Mr. Ismay said this line, again I'm going to quote the film, the line along the lines of, "This ship can't sink." To which someone says, well, it can and it will. Titanic's fate was sealed. Titanic was going to flounder and it was going to sink beneath the waves of the North Atlantic. Thousands of people were going to die. So then they make a decision. So the captain of the ship makes a decision, which, as he's in charge of the ship, he has to. Who do we get off the ship first? He decides women and children. Now this is a part that the designers of Titanic, whether it was a design decision or aesthetic decision, I don't know. But Titanic was not fitted with enough lifeboats to get everyone from that boat into the lifeboats and to safety. But of course they need to radio for help. Is there a ship nearby that can help us? A ship responds. The Carpathia. It's 4 hours away. But Titanic, unfortunately, won't be around. Well, the ship won't be anyway, in 4 hours' time. But it's going to go at its fastest speed to get to this ship in time. No other, there's talk of it, they could see a ship off the starboard side, or the port side, and they couldn't, and they wirelessed it, couldn't hear anything, so whether there was or not, I don't know. So then the lifeboats are lowered. As is maritime code, a captain goes down with his ship. Captain Smith knows he's going to die. Now, you've made this call for women and children, right? On one of these lifeboats was Mr. Ismay. Words can't describe how I feel about that. I think that's absolutely disgusting. You value your own life because you're a millionaire above people who have been told that they can get off the ship. Okay. Anyway, Titanic's bow starts to dip beneath the waves. The water's coming up. And water is on a ship is pretty once it's on, it ain't getting off. And it just pulls the ship, the water weight just pulls the ship down. Bridge gets hit. And people are going to run towards the stern of the ship. As you would, to the highest point, you'd be safer. And all these lifeboats are around Titanic. But when the lifeboats are gone, what are you meant to do? People started to jump from the ship into the North Atlantic, looking for pieces of debris, anything that could get them out of the water, because the North Atlantic at night in April is freezing cold, and you could end up dying, which people did, unfortunately. But as the bow goes up, the stern's going to go up. Now, out of the water comes 3 propellers and a rudder. Stopped at this point. Titanic has stopped. And all these lifeboats and the people in the water are witness to something I don't think they expected. So Titanic's going down like that. All of a sudden, they hear a crack. And this crack sends the stern downwards. The bow carries on going down. But of course people have jumped off, haven't they? God, I can't imagine how they must have felt. The last moments of your life, looking up and you're seeing propellers and rudders come straight down. Wow. But as the bow's gone down, the people on the stern know that the stern's going to go down now as well. And the stern goes down and slips beneath the waves. I'm going to put on the screen now the amount of people that died that night. Of course, this makes worldwide news. The unsinkable ship has sunk. But people, you know, the safety of the cruise line industry now is actually thanks to what happened on Titanic, because now everyone talks to each other. If there's ice, they tell them, and they plot different courses and this, that, the other. But Titanic was there, it was beneath the waves of the North Atlantic. No one had found it. That was until a team led by Mr. Robert Ballard was given permission, following discovery of 2 American submarines, to use those subs to go and find Titanic. And he did. And then, since then, we've had the film Titanic 2, we've had as that's being built, or probably is built, but not set sail yet. That wants to recreate the route of Titanic. Like, you're calling a ship after a sunken ship. Excuse me for not being one of the first people on that boat. Because that's something you don't do. You don't name anything after the you don't name another ship after a previous one. Just don't do it. I mean, you know, if it's called Titanic 2 still. No. And there's museums in Belfast. There was an exhibition in London that I was going to go to, but I ran out of time, and considering I got COVID when I was down there, I'm actually glad I didn't go now. But Titanic will always be the shipping disaster that everyone knows. Even like I wasn't born, but yeah, I know it happened. Purely because of the film, I admit, but it's always going to be a disaster that people are going to talk about, or at least look into, Google it, YouTube it, whatever you do these days, National Geographic, who knows. But it just shows. They claimed the ship was unsinkable. Nothing is unsinkable. To this day, I'm not aware of any other ship that's been named as unsinkable. I just hope that anyone who did die that night have rested in peace since, because it's horrible to think, isn't it? You go into a place you've never been to and you end up unfortunately dying along the way. It really is a sad thing. Now, that is the end of the video. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I actually enjoyed looking into it and researching it and everything like that. I know it's not one of the fun videos I've done on the channel, so if you came to watch one video, I do apologise. But anyway, if you liked the video, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if I missed a video, and me and the coffee cup will see you in the next one.